Well, thanks for joining us, Kyle.
Sure.
So, first question right off the bat for fun. Do you like the term NeoCloud or do you not like the term NeoCloud? What do you prefer?
So I'm actually one that doesn't like the term NeoCloud. I think it's too Pokemon for me, right? I
Yeah.
think the one I got recently on a talk with someone was subscaler, right?
I hadn't
And
heard
I
that
think
one
that has
before.
I
Yeah.
actually hadn't heard that one
Yeah,
before, and I think it
yeah.
has a little bit more character to it. But NeoCloud always made me feel a little bit goofy when I was saying it.
You're a Neopet, is what you're thinking, or
Yeah,
something like that.
exactly.
Exactly.
Neopet, kind of Tamagotchi-ish, really, if you will.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. No, I'm glad I asked because, yeah, I always think about that as well. So, for a subcloud, right? What's like, before we get to a day in a life, like, what typically do you do and, what do your typical customers look like and what are they asking you for?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's a wide range, honestly. Crusoe is focusing on digitally native businesses,
Yeah.
AI native companies, and enterprise companies alike. We're making a big bet on AI native and enterprise. I think that more and more companies are looking to diversify their cloud away from a hyperscaler into other subscalers, into better access of hardware and more modern features and stuff that is a little bit more approachable and easier to manage. And that's where we excel. So for us, it's companies that are looking for hands-off management of their infrastructure and stuff that just works.
Yeah. And so having experience in cloud, like in CPU-based workloads, it's so different, right? In the GPU world and AI
Yeah.
native companies. What are some of the biggest differences sort of that are obvious to you that might not be obvious to other people? Because a cloud is a cloud really, or not
Yeah.
really in the AI world?
Yeah, I think it's not really an AI world, right? And it's a very different landscape when you're focusing on GPU workloads versus more broader application infrastructure, right? And so recently, Crusoe purchased a company called Atero, and Atero is focused on optimizing for those memory-bound workloads, right?
Cool.
And that's the area that we see the market kind of heading towards to in 2026 and beyond. The training is had its heyday, and people are really focusing on inference, and we expect that to really expand. And so intelligent KV cache management, sharing GPU across the entirety of the cluster, things that really matter to be able to service inference at a very high scale.
Love that. So you're one of the first to sort of acknowledge that we're past this inertia right now, mostly training. And for me, 2025 has really been the year of like the shift to inference, the beginning of the big shift to inference. Agents have really sort of been a catalyst for that. Perhaps even reinforcement learning now. Any other catalysts, or are those like the main catalysts you're seeing for this shift? Because it's a big shift.
Yeah. I think that these low code, vibe code, swarm code platforms are making it a lot easier for people to build applications on top of them. And because of that, the inference demand is going off the charts.
Exactly.
There are diminishing returns from tuning the frontier models. You can get some pretty good stuff off the shelf with open source models today. So, whether if you're tuning for a specific use case, that's not really the barrier for high quality application development as much as it is for, how can we optimize agentic flows to be really low on the time to first token, to be highly optimized for cost, right model, right solution, right? And you kind of see this a lot, especially in GPT-5, which I think is its hallmark release wasn't so much just the quality of the model, but the routing of it behind it, right? How quickly can you serve it for a certain answer versus how much longer do you need for a more complicated one?
Yeah. That's fascinating. So I was actually, you're sitting in Wei Zhu's seat, when I was talking to him from Semi-Analysis just about an hour ago.
Yeah.
And one of the cool topics we were talking about is the fact that we're seeing, just an amazing richness, almost an embarrassment of richness and open model quality right now.
Yeah.
But we tend to see not as much prompt caching from the open model providers as compared to the commercial providers. So that price per token comparison and the volume of input tokens is really material compared to output tokens for coding agents. What are you seeing now? Are you seeing more prompt caching coming for the open models, better, more aggressive KV cache management, or something else?
I mean, I would expect so, right? I think that, like I said before, like the next scale of inference is not CPU bound, it's memory bound, right? And so, it is unavoidable that the focus from the clouds and from model providers and from the frontier companies is all on optimizing for that solution. So, Crusoe particularly, our focus was making sure we get ahead of that curve and joining, getting the Atero folks to join over the past couple of months. And there's an immensely talented group of people there that have a really sophisticated solution that is a high-powered injection into our inference stack. And we're very excited to get that integrated. So, I mean, I expect across the board the investment to be in optimization for memory-bound hardware.
Cool. It's funny, we were just talking on LinkedIn, and they were kind of predicting the same thing going forward. And they're very mature, obviously, as an AI ML user. They've developed a whole suite of models for fit for purpose and stuff like that. So I think it's cool that Crusoe is probably the only subcloud I can think of that's actually put your money where your mouth is with regards to really focusing on KV cache management, prompt caching, memory optimization. Is that sort of a strategic direction for the company to like really be leading edge in terms of the material infrastructure for this market, or are you looking to just get into up the stack into just different developer experience? Or
I think it's moving quickly and with intention. The hypothesis is that the inference battle is won at the user experience layer and the performance layer. Those two hand in hand really matter. You see a lot of investment into the types of software that allows for simple turnkey management of the infrastructure. Yeah. A lot of the teams that go multi-cloud don't have the time or the investment to be able to hands-on management of their cluster in AWS and GCP and in Crusoe, right? Yeah. So turnkey management for that is important. Very simple, easy to understand observability layers, right? That is stuff that is very important. And then in addition to that, performance, right? Yeah. There are a lot of inference players out there, and they're doing some really interesting things. And so to stay ahead of the curve, right? Making big bets like this, and intentional and well-researched bets, but making big bets like this are important for us.
That's really cool. So UX experience is something that was really important, right?
Yeah.
Like if we decompose that, I don't want to lead the question too much. What's like really important? I got my opinions on like what's really important in UX experience in this world.
So for us, one of the areas we're spending a lot of time is self-healing infrastructure. So GPUs fail. They should be expected to fail. Hardware fails in general, and so having to deal with XID errors coming off and having to remediate that yourself, shut off VMs, migrate workloads, deal with capacity management. It's all very sophisticated and more or less time consuming. So Crusoe's investing in infrastructure that allows us to do that for you, right? So you can not worry about your cluster, and we'll do both passive and active health checking. The ability to say like, hey, there is a problem with this node. Let's take it out of rotation. Let's pull something from your capacity pool and bring it back in, and then start to do deeper integrations with your workloads and your jobs. So there's a lot of things there that make it so it just works kind of mentality, and I think it's that is where I see the user experience going. It enables AI native businesses. It enables enterprise companies to go multi-cloud very easily and just access hardware. And more so, like you get farther and farther away from the actual GPUs themselves, right? Like people become less concerned with which GPU is servicing their request. They're just all performance based, right? And that's where we can deliver.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here. What's a good question? What do you want to wrap up on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's for me, it's always exciting kind of being at these events and seeing all the stuff that people are building. And it's crazy to me how fast the application layer is moving.
When you think about it, like just past 10 months alone is night and day.
Yeah, so, exactly. And so I'd see we're heads down trying to build the most reliable and fault-tolerant infrastructure that we can. And, just seeing the diversity and stuff that's being built at the application layer is always exciting to me. So for me, it's just getting the exposure to these companies out here and just seeing all the cool stuff people are doing and just trying to stay up.
Yeah, and I think one of the leads you're bearing that I'm appreciating is just the latency that you're able to offer, obviously, with these memory KV cache optimizations.
Totally.
I mean, that's a big part of the user experience, really. Yeah. And we take resiliency for granted, but we really notice the latency.
Yeah,
so.
You don't notice it until it starts breaking, right? Absolutely. So exactly, we want you to not think about us.
then it's a fire drill.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Cool.
Love the chat. Hope I have another one sometime soon.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.